This is the Dakota News Now College Football Preview Show, sponsored by Prairie Farms and First Bank and Trust.
The coronation is complete. South Dakota State is the king of the FCS.
234 days ago, South Dakota State capped the greatest college football season in our region's history by winning their second straight FCS national title. This week, the journey starts again. Welcome to our 2024 College Football Preview Show. I'm Mark Ovenden. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll get you ready for every level of college football this season with our first big games kicking off tomorrow night, believe it or not.
Hard to believe. I'm Zach Borg. This year truly has a tough act to follow, with virtually every team from our region coming off winning or banner years, and no team brought home more hardware than the Jackrabbits, who, despite graduating the greatest class from the best team in program history, expect nothing less than a third straight national title.
There's been a lot of talk of who we lost and who we don't have this year. We know what type of playmakers we have. We know the younger class is going to be great. And like Coach always says, the hungry dog eats.
South Dakota State's defense ate well in 2023 and was one of the best in the history of the FCS, allowing the fewest yards and points per game. It's this group that returns the most experience, anchored by All-American linebacker Adam Bach.
I think we're gonna keep rolling with the no-name defense. One thing we mentioned as seniors, our legacy, we want people to come to the game and be like, man, that defense flies around. Those guys make plays.
Offense took the most losses, yet perhaps got the biggest return with quarterback Mark Gronowski.
Just off the field, just that leadership is amazing to have back. And then when you add in what he does on the field, we're blessed to have that.
Though he's just one of 4 starters back, those stepping into new roles aren't strangers.
The ones and the twos were so deep that it was like, you could throw anybody in there, they'll go in there and make plays. And I think that's what the younger guys on our team this year, they obviously see that, and it's like they're hungry for that.
In all honesty, this is maybe one of the most competitive fall camps. Although we don't have a ton of experience, we do have a lot of guys that have taken a ton of practice reps and are ready for their moment.
It comes coincidentally at a time when there's been turnover on the coaching staff after offensive coordinator Zach Lujan left for Northwestern. Ryan Olson was promoted, and UND's Danny Freund brought in as quarterbacks coach. Though the offense likely won't look much different, there could be new wrinkles. Perhaps, for example, with Gronowski's heir apparent, Chase Mason.
Who are the 10 best skill players on our offense? And it's not very often that your number 2 quarterback, ends up in the top 5. He's a weapon. We have got to use him.
And though the schemes and players change,
you can look ahead to the future, but ultimately that's not really going to help. This program is built on the concept of 1-0 each week.
This is where we get better. Let's fly around.
They'll try to go 1-0 this Saturday with one of the biggest games in program history, putting their 29-game win streak on the line at FBS Oklahoma State. Later on, they'll get back-to-back nationally televised rivalry games in late October against NDSU and USD. And the key to how many of these games they can win could be unlocked by the return of quarterback Mark Gronowski. Our Mark Ovenden, has more with him.
Well, I'm with quarterback Mark Gronowski, and the big question during the offseason was, is number 11 coming back or not? I guarantee you South Dakota State fans are glad. I'm just wondering, how happy are you with this? You seem quite calm and collected about your decision.
Yeah, no, it's the best decision I made, and I'm really happy to be back here for another year. We got a lot of young guys in this team that have really been chomping at the bit, getting ready to play a full year for them, because they had a lot of seniors that got to leave, and now that's their chance to step up here. And it's really great for me as well, because I get to know the playbook, and I can continue to prove on my own things that I need to get better on instead of focusing on a new playbook. So I'm really glad I'm here.
And I got to believe that's – I know Jimmy was probably hoping you would stay for that reason alone. I certainly was. I also felt like the loyalty that you've developed for this program was going to play a big factor in your decision.
Yeah, and that's a huge decision. And it all starts with the fans, too, because you have all that support that we have from Sioux Falls, from Brookings, all of South Dakota, even some fans outside of South Dakota. And that support is what draws people here and keeps that culture so strong here, and those relationships with people outside in the community. It's just such a hard place to leave, and that's the reason why I ended up staying for the most part.
Your brother's become almost more famous than you, especially after our post-game interview after your first championship. How excited is he that you're still here?
He's pumped. He's a jackrabbit through and through, and he's not going to miss a single game this year, and he's going to be the loudest one cheering at all the games.
I figured he would be excited. All right, so you got a lot of new faces. There's only like 4 starters back from last year. But as Jimmy has been telling me, we got a lot of really good players that nobody knows about. Your take on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with him because there's a lot of guys that have been waiting for their shot. We had a lot of 6-year guys like the Yankees, Hines, Mike Morgan, a lot of offensive linemen as well, and those guys are now gone, and now there's guys that really have to step up. And every single time that we've had an opportunity for guys to step up, they've really stepped up to the challenge and played really well. And I know that's what's going to happen this year.
2 straight national championships. Could you have ever envisioned this?
You know what? I as a kid, I always dreamed of winning a national championship. 2 is just that much sweeter, and hopefully we can continue to have a really great season this year and see what can happen.
Well, down in Vermilion, the Coyotes had an historic 2023 as well, with the most wins, highest ranking, and first quarterfinal playoff appearance in their Division I era. The thing is, if you'd spent a day in their fall camp, you wouldn't have known any of that had happened.
Same mentality we had last year. Ultimately, we didn't accomplish anything. We didn't accomplish our goal. So, like I said, same mentality this season. We got a chip on our shoulder.
In many ways, that 3-win 2022 season planted the seeds for last year's dominant Coyote defense, which ranked 25th in the nation for fewest yards allowed. And it's why they're confident under coordinator Travis Johansson they'll stem the tide of graduations and Miles Harden's early entry to the NFL.
Pre-game speeches, I think, are his specialty. He can get the guys fired up, and like I said, if he trusts you and you trust him, there's that mutual respect there for each other. So a lot of people just want to go get the job done, not only for him, but for, like I said, each other.
Though they were in the top half of the Valley in total defense, USD was in the bottom for total offense, something they expect will change in their second year under offensive coordinator Josh Davis.
Just being able to capitalize on some of those certain situations, 3rd and short, 3rd and long, not putting ourselves in those positions and trying to help our defense out.
We got to take advantage of a lot more opportunities this year, and I take a lot of blame for some of the things that we didn't take advantage of last year. And like I said, that's my job as decision making this year, to put us in better spots to make those big plays each game.
Along with experience, a combined 41 seniors and juniors will be in either their 4th, 5th, or 6th years of college football.
When you have a mature football team like that, it's an easy team to work with from a coaching standpoint. Our guys demand a lot of each other, and that's how you get better.
It's why bringing up USD's history of never earning consecutive FCS playoff bids means about as much to them as the praise they got for last year.
Truthfully, I really don't care. I don't listen to anybody. We know how good our team is, and everyone else can think whatever they want. They'll see this season.
The Yotes kick off tomorrow, debuting their all-black jerseys against Northern State, followed by a nationally televised game at FBS Wisconsin. Their bye comes after the nationally televised game at South Dakota State and before a tough end-of-the-season stretch against UND and NDSU. Stick with us. When we come back, we'll hear from some South Dakotans looking to lead some of the premier programs in the FBS back to glory.
Welcome back to the Dakota News Now College Football Preview Show, sponsored by Prairie Farms and First Bank and Trust.
And welcome back to the show. In 2024, a pair of South Dakota natives will be leading 2 of the most iconic programs in college football history in the FBS's biggest conference, the SEC. About 20 years ago, Millbank's Kalen DeBoer began his head coaching career by succeeding the legendary Bob Young at his alma mater, University of Sioux Falls. Kalen went on to win 67 games and 3 NAIA national championships in 5 years. Now, after several stops along the way, including as head coach at Fresno State and Washington, he's taking over for one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NCAA. He's replaced Nick Saban at the top FBS program, the University of Alabama. For anybody else, it might be considered an impossible task. But those who followed Kalen throughout his career know that he'll chart his own path.
Every coach is different, right? We all have different personalities. We all have our styles, and especially when you've been doing it for a while, in this profession, you kind of have the things that you really like to do and favor. But in the end, the most important things, I think a lot of those are probably pretty similar more than they're different. I guess I just take it as a great honor to be the one that gets to do everything we can to carry on the great tradition.
I think he's going to do great. Kalen's debut with the Tide is on Saturday in Tuscaloosa against Western Kentucky.
Aberdeen's Josh Heupel is entering his 4th season at the University of Tennessee. Under his leadership, UT is 27-12 with victories in the Orange and Citrus Bowls, the program's most success since the Philip Fulmer era. Though the conference has expanded, Heupel expects his program to take the next steps of winning a championship and reaching the college football playoff.
Yeah, you got to learn it, earn it, and go take it. It's a player's responsibility to prove that he's going to play at a championship level, play in, play out, day in, day out. Young guys, they got to have an opportunity to grow, make mistakes, don't make the same mistake twice. Every player inside of our program, including our young guys, you got to give them an opportunity to continue to grow from day to day. And, that's the journey that we're all on together.
Tennessee's SEC opener will be a very personal one to Josh as they head to Norman and the University of Oklahoma, the program he quarterbacked to a national title in 2000 on September 21st. About a month later, they'll head to Alabama, where he'll square off with fellow South Dakotan Kalen DeBoer and the Crimson Tide.
I'm not sure anybody pictured two South Dakotans being in the SEC a few years ago. Kalen's somebody that I've known for a long time. I was a little bit younger, watched him as an athlete, and then through our coaching paths have crossed and stayed in contact. Great person, great coach, and we'll be ready for Saturday in October.
A lot of TVs tuned into that one back home. Up next, we'll head through Kalen DeBoer's old stomping grounds at USF and their current home, the NSIC. There's plenty of change in the NSIC this season, headlined by the team that's coming off its best season in program history that won the league, the Augustana Vikings. Augie went 11-2 last year, took the NSIC with a 9-1 mark, and defeated Mankato in the first round of the playoffs. They lost 8 offensive starters off that historic squad, including their starting quarterback Casey Bauman, prolific wideouts Logan Utek and Devin Jones, and lineman Blake Larson. However, with 8 defensive starters back and news that 1,000-yard rusher Jared Epperson has been granted another year of eligibility, it's easy to see why they were picked second in the preseason poll, and Coach Jerry Olszewski is confident they can keep the train moving forward.
At some point in the season, you're going to look at your depth. Obviously, your front runners and your major players, if you stay healthy, you have a shot. But we think we've recruited pretty well. And the kids that are in those roles now have been guys that we thought would be. And now they just have to go and get the job done.
And then as a leader, it's just letting them know that, hey, a long time ago I was in your same shoes and I've made all the mistakes you've made. It's all about just getting better and learning from each of the things you do.
Augie starts up a week from Thursday at the University of Mary, the home opener 3 weeks away, September 21st against Northern.
Now, the wrong kind of history was made across town at Bob Young Field for the USF Cougars, who saw their streak of 28 straight winning seasons come to an end with last year's 3-8 finish. It really wasn't a big surprise, though, since Jim Glogowski took over a program that experienced a ton of turnover and had plenty of new faces in his first season. And with 76 of their 118 players returning, he and the rest of the Coup are very confident they'll start a brand new winning streak.
If it wasn't for that, I don't even know if I'd be back, but I'm not trying to end my career at 3-8. And so I would say the chip on our shoulder, like we're ready to prove something.
It's not just the maturity, because obviously they were juniors last year, so they set, technically they had some experience, but this year around they understand the system, they understand the program, and now when you couple that with some maturity and being able to make mature decisions and being leaders, I think that's hopefully bodes well.
The Coup open their season at FCS St. Thomas in St. Paul tomorrow night at 6. Their home opener is September 14th against Mary. And in case you're wondering, the key to the city game, which they usually do pretty well in, is at Augustana this year on November 9th.
Though Northern State suffered their first losing campaign under Mike Schmidt in his 3 seasons, they showed great improvement down the stretch in 2023, winning 4 of their last 6, with only narrow defeats by 10 against Augie and 6 to Concordia. While they've only been picked 9th, Schmidt hopes Division I Northern Arizona transfer quarterback Daniel Britt adds a bit more firepower to an offense which already has a cast of physical and dependable veterans, many of whom have been with him all 4 years.
there's a lot of scars on this group of seniors. There's a lot of guys that have been through a lot of stuff in their careers and throughout this time. And so it's a fun group. It's a fun group to learn from and be around. It's great leadership for our football program.
Our focus this year is just to be the most dominant physical football team in D2 football. So I think we have the right line for that.
As we mentioned, the Wolves open tomorrow night at USD, their first home game a week from Saturday against USF.
Scott Underwood's second season in Marshall at Southwest Minnesota State saw the Mustangs win just a couple of games with 3 losses coming by 7 points or less. That's frustrating. They were pretty young and will be young again with just 10 seniors. But Scott is a program builder. He's done it in plenty of places, and he's had plenty of success at places like St. Cloud State before budget cuts led to that program getting terminated. It's why he's not afraid of a youth movement, redshirting 25 players last year that he says has built good depth entering this season.
Building upon the games that we had chances and great opportunities to close out and we didn't do it, that, and day by day you're gonna build from that.
I just think if we can string together some wins and, even just compete a little harder with some of those upper teams in our conference, we can really start to show these younger guys that, we're not that far off. Just keep working, keep pushing.
The Mustangs have to wait a little longer than anybody else to kick their season off, but are the only one to do it at home, getting Minot State at Matkey Field September 7th. Well, next up, we'll take a look at the NAIA and Dakota State's brand new dig. I'm with Josh Anderson, head coach of the Dakota State Trojans, who open up the brand new football stadium Thursday night against your arch rival, Dakota Wesleyan. How exciting is it to be in this place? Because it's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, actually. And honestly, we've been planning for this for a long time, but we've been watching it being built for 2 years. And so it's just really been building and itching and getting better and better. And so to see it all done, to be standing on the new field, getting ready to play tomorrow night against Dakota Wesleyan, it has been a long time coming, but it's been worth the wait.
I've been stopping over here constantly the last couple of years, just kind of living vicariously through this. I can't imagine what it's been like for you to want to come over here almost every day. It's like building a house, but it's bigger than that.
Well, it is. And if you've ever built a house, you're always constantly waiting and walking through and checking things out. And no doubt we were doing that since day one, since they started moving dirt. And the biggest thing is, coming back here to Madison, that was 16 years ago. And on that grass field, it's where I played high school ball, it's where I played some college ball. The love of that field, it was just time. It was time we needed to do something for this university, for this community. And we did a very good job of taking the time to put things together and do things right and put a lot of thought into it to make sure that we were building a top-notch facility like you can see.
And it's gorgeous. And I'm guessing, A, it's going to be more fun for the players, but B, for you guys as coaches, this is going to make your recruiting a lot easier.
It has been a lot easier. Our summer camps, we've had the most teams we've ever had at summer camps. I think the interest in coming here, I think the way we run our summer camps is also a tribute to our coaches and our football program, but also the facilities are nice. The dorms on campus where they stay are nice, and the people in town are so welcoming, but it's just really easy to sell such a great community, a great university, and now great athletic facilities.
Is this going to make you guys a better football team?
Absolutely, 100%. It just makes you feel better. The old look good, feel good, play good. Yeah. Well, this is part of it. The facilities, camping out in the locker room and the coaches' offices, and being a part of this facility, yes, it brings a much bigger pride, a much bigger chip on your shoulder.
Christmas came in August in Madison, South Dakota.
That's a great way of putting it. We've been waiting for Santa for quite a long time.
Dakota State opens a new stadium. Dakota Wesleyan opens a new era under first-year head coach Alex Kretschmer. He's the top Tiger after Ross Simple moved up to athletic director in February, ending a 12-year run as head coach. A former Trojan assistant, Alex is in his third year with the program after serving as defensive backs and special teams coordinator, helping lead a 4-win turnaround to 6-5 last year. And he doesn't feel like he needs to make any radical change with a veteran team and solid structure.
There are a few things that, I can't do it exactly the way he does it, because then it's not authentic or anything. So I got to give it my own little spin a little bit. But ultimately, for the most part, we kept things
pretty much very similar.
Little change, which was to be expected. I mean, but not a whole lot. I mean, we retained a lot of guys, so we got a good group coming back who, we know the standards and how to operate, and I don't think that's changed at all.
And his wife is a Bostonian, so we've bonded already. Football at Mount Marty is still relatively new. 2024 is just the 4th season in the young program's history. Following their winless debut in 2021, John Micheletti's Lancers have gone 3-8 in each of the last 2 seasons. 4 years represents the first high school recruiting class maturing, so they hope to see the program take yet another leap forward this year.
We need to have a really good year to send them off on a good note because of what they have done for our program. You know, the foundation they've laid, the traditions they've instilled in all the guys, and going forward, everybody that will be a Mount Marty Lancer in the future. It's smash mouth football, and it's the best kind of football, right? We love playing in this conference, and you know, we like where we're at, but we got to keep moving forward.
And Jacob's got a world-class mustache, doesn't he? That thing is awesome. The Lancers start with 3 straight road games at Culver, Stockton, Dakota Wesleyan, and Northwestern before finally coming home September 21st against Waldorf.
The Northwestern Red Raiders are on an NAIA run that kind of mirrors what SDSU's done in the FCS, but after their bid for a 15-0 season and consecutive national championship was spoiled in the title game by Keyser, their quarterback and reigning National Player of the Year, Jalen Gramstad, transferred to FBS Nebraska for a chance to join the Husker quarterback room and begin a coaching career. Despite that, with all-purpose back Connor McQuillan and most of their defense returning, the Red Raiders are preseason favorites to win the GPAC and ranked number 2 in the nation, which is why head coach Matt McCarty will roll with one of 3 true freshmen, O'Gorman alum Hayden Gross, or former Nebraska Preps Colby Duncan and Brody Peterson at quarterback.
The way that they competed over the summer, the way that they learned things, we knew that those guys would be just fine with those guys, and also the talent that we have around them. That's an important position, but you know, really the talent that we have surrounding that position really allows us to be confident in those guys and know that those guys can flourish.
They're learning, and they're not afraid to make mistakes, and they're just taking it day by day with a good attitude.
They have confidence in true freshmen. They'll open at Hastings September 7th, return to Orange City a week later against Mount Marty.
The Dordt Defenders came oh so close to dethroning the Red Raiders and beating Northwestern for the first time ever last year, losing that 7-0 nail-biter at the icy cold stadium in the second round of the NAIA playoffs. It was a bitter end to the best season in program history, in which the Defenders went 9-3 and got to host their first ever playoff game. Joel Penner has done a remarkable job in Sioux Center with a program that was still struggling to win when he got there. And with the Defenders picked 3rd and even picking up a first-place vote in this year's poll, he wants the program to keep pushing for the top.
We have a possibility of having 11 seniors start on defense, which is kind of unheard of and exciting. You know, we were young on offense last year, and I felt like we had some growing pains in that, and those guys have grown up a ton. We have a lot of playmakers at a lot of places, and we have a very veteran O-line.
The Defenders kick off at Midland a week from Saturday and return to Sioux Center September 21st against Hastings. We'll be right back.
Yeah, this is quite something.
How do you keep that hair so perfect, man, in this rain?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been going it for years. It's quite the process.
Whether interviewing in the rain or running through Morningside in the snow as he did last year, Connor McQuillan proving again that he is always able and willing. He's going to be fun to watch this year. A lot of guys going to be fun to watch this season.
You know what, Connor? I had hair like that a long time ago. Enjoy it while you got it. Let's take a look back at some special moments from last year. And by the way, everything starts tomorrow night. We got plenty of coverage. Thanks for watching.
Jacks on top. Go big, go blue, go Jacks, baby.